super modern, super clean. It's just an absolute pleasure. And the weather.
지금까지 저희 위대한 언니에서 한국을 찾아온 수많은 외국인들의 이야기를 전해드렸는데요. 오늘은 조금 특별합니다. 20대 커플이나 한류 팬이 아닌 60대 미국인 부부이기 때문인데요. 은퇴 후 전 세계를 여행하며 남다른 추억을 만들어가는 스티브와 미셸. 두 사람이 난생 처음으로 한국에 왔습니다. 티머니 카드 사용부터 배워야 했던 두 사람이 남다른 포스를 자랑하는 길거리 음식, 비오는 날 인사동 골목을 걷는 정취까지 경험했다고 합니다. 한국에서 평생 간직할 추억을 만들었으며 수많은 나라를 여행해봤지만 한국이 최애 여행지가 될 것 같다는 미국인 부부의 이야기. 궁금하지 않으세요? 지금부터 영상으로 전해드립니다.
We're in Seoul, South Korea. Very excited because firstly the weather is beautiful. It's not super hot. It's blue skies. It rained when we arrived. Yesterday it was absolutely pouring with rain, but today is gorgeous, and you know you're in South Korea. Look at these rooftops of this building here. How beautiful is that? So we're just going to have a walk around, explore, and we'll be seeing South Korea as you're seeing South Korea. So happy to be here, Michelle?
Happy to be here.
Beautiful day.
Yes, I think.
It's probably about, maybe 28 degrees, 82 Fahrenheit, so perfect weather. Maybe a little cooler. Wow. Look at that. Whee, here comes a taxi. So we've got to go for a little walk today, try and find some cash. Look at this place. It's so clean. I'm sorry, we've just come from Vietnam. As you know, we had a great time in Vietnam, but my Lord, it feels so much more European, so much cleaner here in South Korea. Immediately, the streets are absolutely pristine. The zebra crossings actually work. The pedestrian crossings, we call them zebra crossings because American friends, zebra crossings. They've got these little bikes that you can rent by the looks of them, probably have an app that goes with them. So, are they electric? No, they're just pedal bikes. Oh, that one's electric. These ones, swing bikes. So I'm sure you can just scan your phone on these apps. But right now we haven't even organised ourselves SIM cards. It's another thing for another video. Today is just all about exploring this beautiful city. Look at this stone here. Now, although that looks like a stone engraved, I've got a feeling, sadly, that's probably just concrete. It might not be there. To check the map. Google Maps does not really work in South Korea. They have a couple of their own much better apps, and I'll do a video on the app, but there's a street app called Naver. Can't even see, the sun's a bit bright today, but it's called Naver, N-A-V-E-R. And would you believe it's better than Google in almost every way, except for it's all in Korean, so that's a little tricky. Okay, we've got a little stretch of what I think is very clean, modern, but a little bit boring street. So I'm going to stop for a second, start up when we get into smaller streets with a little bit more shade. Anyway, we're waiting for this crossing. It's quite a busy one, just on orange. So just put the clip in the young girls. There's a few young girls here dressed in traditional Korean clothing. I'm not sure what they're, maybe they're just going for photo shoots, or maybe they're tourists. The coffee culture here is immense. There are more coffee shops. And look at the quality of these places. So there are more coffee shops per square mile, square kilometre than I think I've ever seen in a long time. Coffee everywhere, isn't there, Michelle?
We did a quick little stop in 7-Eleven just to get a cold drink, and the amount of coffees in there is amazing.
Yeah, there's the amount of 7-Elevens are amazing. There are hundreds of them, but yes, there's a 7-Eleven just next to our hotel, and the variety, I would say, 100 maybe or more different coffees, from powder coffees to iced coffee ice creams to just the regular, you know, pour the hot water in and turn it into your own coffee. Okay. So this is definitely a city of extremes. You've got these super modern, may I say, ugly buildings mixed in with a beautiful old tradition, but they've kept a really nice blend of the old traditional buildings. I suppose at some point modernity has to come to every big city. When you look at this, and it's not a big building, it's maybe about 10 or 15 stories high, and we compare it to this little building, which is not the prettiest example, but this timber-clad building here, I know which I'd prefer. Not a brilliant example. I'm trying to show the extreme contrast, Michelle, of modernity and old Korean. There's an ancient statue there, probably going back to the
Temple State Information Centre.
I was going to say some dynasty, but it would have been Chinese and you'd have all given me a hard time over it.
Made over here.
I think we cross over, it's shady on the other side of the street, and we've got a green man, and I think we have to be this side. So look, we've got a countdown, 20 seconds. What is beautiful around where we're staying anyway, and I imagine it's the same here, is the little alleyways. That's probably not a great example, but the little alleyways that run up the side of buildings have got so much charm and so much going on. They're not dead, non-functioning alleyways. They've got restaurants and people making stuff, little artisan producers in the alleyways. Now I do think it's predominantly a Buddhist country, which surprised me. You can check those details for me. Look at these little alleyways. I'll just take you up so you can see what I mean. Every little alleyway seems as if it might have very little up here, and you find these beautiful little cafes. And tonight, so to give you an idea where we are, look at this building, Seoul City Hall. Interesting. And that's why you can see the other side of these. I've got sort of temporary marquees here in the same shape as City Hall. Now I should add that you can also, while we have no cash and so many places only take cash, you can also use these T-Money cards, and I'll talk about those later on. The only problem is we got these T-Money cards when we arrived here in South Korea, but you can only really top these up. At the moment we can seem to only top them up with cash. So you're still in the same position, but a lot of convenience stores, a lot of shops will actually use these almost like a standard ATM. Now Korea is super modern, super clean. It's just an absolute pleasure, and the weather, I think I've said it already.
배움에는 국경도 나이도 없다고 하죠. 완전히 낯선 문화를 가진 해외를 여행하는 건 역시 일종의 배움이 아닐까 싶은데요. 스티브와 미셸의 한국 여행이 좋은 추억으로 가득하길 바라며 오늘은 여기서 인사드릴게요. 오늘 이야기도 재밌게 보셨다면 좋아요, 구독 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.
I'll share with you some of my highlights and fun activities in Seoul, South Korea.
미국 뉴욕에 사는 미국인 헤더는 여행 코치라는 독특한 직업을 갖고 있습니다. 수년간 전 세계를 여행하며 얻은 노하우를 바탕으로 사람들에게 여행에 관련된 조언을 해주고 계획을 세워주는 건데요. 그런 그녀가 팬데믹 후 다시 여행을 떠났습니다. 지금까지 미처 가보지 못한 곳을 경험하기 위해서였죠. 그렇다면 헤더가 서울에서 한 경험 중 가장 만족스러웠던 건 무엇이었을까요? 영상을 통해 느긋한 서울 여행을 함께 해보시죠.
There are a lot of steps here, so if you have any walking problems, you might want to do the cable car, but plan on a wait, of course. And I think it's about 14,000 won for a return trip. This is not an easy walk up. I've already shed 2 layers, even though it's kind of been cold here in Seoul, but today of course it's a bit warmer, and coming from Malaysia and the heat into the cold, I just completely misjudged the weather. The view does get nicer and nicer as you keep going up. It's pretty amazing. The cherry blossoms mostly blew away in a storm before I arrived in Seoul, but I saw a few. Looks like the end is in sight. Made it to the top. When a cable car gets off in front of you, there's quite a traffic jam. It is Sunday, and it's beautiful, so there's a lot of people out. Just so you get an idea of a typical, well, I don't know if it's typical, but a busy, beautiful Sunday spring afternoon in Seoul. Everyone is out here. My take is that to get here, if you come with a subway, you have about a 20-minute walk to get to the base of the park where you start the further 20 or 25-minute walk up here. I think there is a bus that might bring you closer, and there's also the cable car, which will of course save you the walking, but you may lose out on the time by waiting for the cable car because it seems quite popular, especially for people with kids. It is beautiful up here, and you'll probably want to spend some time just sitting and enjoying, especially if the weather is beautiful like this. Saying that correctly, probably not. And one of the things that's starting to grow on me here is these beautiful side streets that I wouldn't expect. I'm just walking along and I'll show you this. So it just seems like a quaint. I noticed a bunch of coffee shops on the way over here, so I'm gonna try one after I go to the village. I'm really enjoying these these unexpected little alleys. This is a restaurant. All these people renting the traditional dresses here are giving me envy. I may have to do that one of my days here. Really beautiful streets. Understand correctly, this area is about 600 years old. It used to be where the Joseon government officials used to live. So beautiful, long history and beautiful village. There's a blend of souvenir shops and beautiful artwork as you go through, and some more high-end souvenirs if that's your thing. What I especially like about this area is so much of Seoul seems like a large city. Coming from New York, I'm always intrigued to see other things, so I feel much more like I'm in a village. And okay, right where I'm standing, so I've been watching this, like, I guess K-drama. I don't know if it's K-drama, it's like Korean drama to me, but it's like a sort of romantic comedy drama kind of TV show. And I think I'm standing at the location of one of the scenes that I saw in like episode 3 of this thing. I think it's called like Love to Hate You or something like that. So I'm kind of chuckling. Wow, this is gorgeous. Noisy, but what a beautiful street. So far, this is my favorite activity that I've done in Seoul. This is absolutely beautiful. Have your tea here. So there's also a tea house and museum. It was 6,000 won to get in, which is roughly $4 or $5. If you come here, bear in mind that I think people actually live in these buildings presently, so it must be a bit irritating for them to have lots of loud noise and tourists. There were some ladies in yellow jackets telling us to be mindful of noise. And I did see someone come out of her home and throw away some garbage. So I'm going to enjoy my tea outside in this gorgeous weather with this great view. I finished my tea and now I am enjoying a walk in the garden, which is absolutely lovely. I thought there would be some fish in here. Guess not. For the price of a cup of tea or coffee, you get said cup of tea or coffee and a lovely walk around the garden. So definitely think this is a worthwhile activity to do if you make it over to the village here. I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be a very quick visit, maybe 20-30 minutes walk around. I think I've been here an hour. It's just so peaceful and wonderful. You could easily spend a morning or an afternoon here. I'd say the first week here in Seoul has been, well, quite difficult. I think there's always I call it the first week is like my adaptation week wherever I go, especially if it's another country. I got to get used to new currency, new rates of the currency. So it's how it looks and feels, but also how much it is, how much things cost, language. And here in Seoul, also coming from Malaysia, it was really hot and then it was raining and quite cold here. And to relax and accept my surroundings. I found this beautiful place. I actually went and found